start this video, I completely forgot in the recording. I have talk sprites now. I made these for a while ago, a long time actually, a couple of 2 years maybe. I don't know. And I didn't know when would be appropriate time to use them, but I thought about it. I'm like, this would be a perfect video to introduce them. So here are my talk sprites that I made. This is my character Whisper. She is my persona. She's supposed to represent me in every way. Our personalities are practically the same. It's just that she is a literal toon. Is she human? I don't know. The only justifications I have of her is just that she's a cartoon, and that's it. She's stretchy and very expressive with herself and everything else. So just think of a literal cartoon from the 20s or so, like Cuphead. Just think of Cuphead. I can't remember the cartoon, the style of the 20s for the life of me, even though I use it a lot. I don't know. Anyway, please enjoy the video. Why, hello there, everybody. This is Like a Knight 48 here, and today I decided to talk about an interesting story about this character I'm drawing, and the origin story of her creation. Now, before I continue, this does involve someone in my friend's life that caused a lot of strain on her, and I was actually debating whether or not to talk about it, and I was discussing this on Discord with my friends, and she was completely cool with it. So I decided to go with it. So all of this actually happened years ago, but it's such a weird freaking story that I'm just like, this has to be said. So the two individuals that I will be talking about, their names will be censored. I do still have the picture, the reference picture that I use, but it's cropped out of the character I'm drawing on my DeviantArt still, but that doesn't mean you have the right to witch hunt this person. I do not condone witch hunting. It is more horrible than what this person did to my friend and everything else, and I will also keep my friend name censored to keep it more private, because if I said my friend's name, then it would be very clear of who I was talking about, because my friend stated that this person a lot of times, and the things around her and everything else. So I won't talk about that. I have respect, because I'm respectful for my friends, and even though this individual did horrible things to my friend, I do not want to blast their names out, because, maybe they actually managed to change, but I digress. So anyway, this is the wonderful story about the individual, who I'll be doubly named Dory for this. This is a funny joke between my friends, because I like making jokes. I try to be lighthearted, because they supposedly said that they have short-term memory loss, because every time my friend, who I will doubly name Pokes, it's just a random name that I came up with because I looked at their profile name and I'm just like, Pokes. So there. So anyway, Pokes tried to help, because Pokes has this this original species that she has, and Dory desperately wanted to be a part of the species and everything else. And we were nice. She was nice. She tried to introduce her and help her out with certain characters and everything else, and every time she fucking sat down and talked to her and gave her an entire list of what she needed to change and fix certain characters to match the lore and the story with Pokes' original species and everything else. And everything, once she's just like, alright, everything's cool, everything's done. The next freaking day, Dory goes back and says, yeah, I completely forgot all the things you said. Can you please go back on the call with me? And it just drove fucking Pokes crazy. to the point where Dory actually caused a lot of real stress towards Pokes, and this is why I just like, I can't stand Dory, because even though this happened years ago, it still emotionally like stressed Pokes out to the point where she literally broke down crying in a call once. I think I was present there, and I completely, this was my friend, you know, and I don't like seeing my friends emotionally in this strait or anything else like that. So I was really pissed at Dory and everything else. So we like, I wasn't actually in context with Dory and everything else, and she would constantly try to roleplay with me. I say quote RP, because my god, Dory could not RP for the life of her. Like, they were so freaking boring. I'm just like, oh my god, what have I done? Why did I agree to thinking that Dory changed at one point, but really, no, she didn't. Actually, no, Dory actually forced me into being an RPG. Even though it was boring, she still forced me into it because I was not comfortable with the fandom and everything else. I will discuss what it is, because that's where this is where it all comes full circle. So anyway, besides that, RP's really boring. Dory, there is not a creative bone in Dory's body. In fact, all of her characters has to parody or like extremely ripped off to something. There was literally a scene by scene rip off from an anime, which for the life of me I cannot remember what it was called, but it had to do with vampires, and it's a really cool anime. Highly recommend watching it. But she ripped scene from scene to make her for a story for her characters, and everyone was calling her out. It's just like, we can tell this is a scene from an anime. It's not even like, it's not like you gain inspiration from this like scene and everything else. You literally ripped off scene by scene of this anime. It was atrocious. I saw it. I'm just like, what the fuck? What is this? So anyway, yeah, Dory rips off a lot of things, and also Dory was very known for tracing over people's arts, most notably Pokes' arts. Now, if you're gonna trace, I understand like using bases and everything else. It helps an artist to like understand how things work. But here's one thing, all right? Here's one thing. I gotta get in here real quick. You gotta credit the original artist. Dory did not credit Pokes' drawings, and yet everyone can clearly see that it was Pokes' drawings. And we were all pissed. We're just like, can you just credit Pokes, or hell, just like do something original? It's just like, it's just a mess, or a true mess right there. So anyway, our friends now, we were all isolated, deciding whether we were just like discussing Dory's art and everything else, and then I think it was Pokes that decided, just like, you know what, how about we just look through all of her characters, because there's a series of characters that were just mind-bogglingly bad, and she was really Dory was trying to pitch off of these characters. We're also looking at like another set of characters. Remind you, these are all fan characters. None of these are original, because originality to Dory, what's that? So anyway, so we all agree. Now, I actually do encourage to doing this, however, don't record this, because what we didn't record this at all. We did this privately. And doing it privately, you have the audacity to just say anything, or like, you can roast the shit out of a character, whatever you want. But once again, you're doing it privately, and you're learning a tidbit here and there and everything else. Oh, if only it did stayed privately, but I'll get to that soon. And, you know, it couldn't be, it doesn't have to be about someone else's really bad individuals or characters or anything else. It could be on your own. Like, go back, get your group of friends in here and there, maybe each of one of you look back at your really old art and just critique and roast the shit out of it. Hella fun. So we did that. We were looking through Dory's original Friday Nights at Freddy's characters. Yeah, it all comes back to the RPG I said I was going to hold back. Yeah, she forced me into an RPG about Friday Nights at Freddy's. And I wasn't comfortable with it. I straight up said, because this is during a time where the fan base were really disheartened to me, and I was not comfortable with the fandom. Granted, nowadays I'm grown old. But anyway, I'm cool with it, but I don't want to be associated with the fan base. I don't want anything to do with them. So if I post something Friday Nights at Freddy's related, I'm turning off the comments and everything else. I hate doing it because I like to listen to people's feedbacks, but I don't want to deal with the fan base, alright? It's my personal opinion and everything else, so. Going through that, Dory's Friday Nights at Freddy's characters was an absolute treat. Because it's just Friday Nights at Freddy's, but with entirely different characters in it. Nothing else original about it. Hell, at least I can give credit for fan projects around a source material like Friday Nights at Freddy's. Like, fuck, I thought Nights at Candy's was a Scott's creation game, but no, it's a fan creation game, and I'm just like, holy shit, I thought he made it. Good for you, you know? I encourage that. Nothing original about Dory, though. No. Sorry, I'm drinking some green tea here. Keep up the salt here. The salt is real in this, so, you know, the best way you can describe these characters, they were all, obviously they were all child prodigy, they were above average, they were good kids and everything else, but two particular characters that drove me absolutely bonkers, they had, I don't remember the disease was, but it's like a vampiric disease, alright? And Dory had a weird obsession with vampires that I noticed, like pretty much all of her, like, the species that Pokes had all had to be vampires. Alright? The story I said about the anime about vampires, the whole scene had to do with vampires to Dory. I don't know, it could be just me, but Dory had a weird obsession with vampires. But get this, the disease that Dory promptly did was a vampiric disease, and all it was these two kids had two-color red eyes, and they drank blood, and they were really pale, I think. But looking up the actual disease, one of their friend group looked up this disease. It's actually a real disease. However, Dory fucked up the actual description. It's just like the actual description, I believe, was you're just sensitive to light. Nothing about drinking fucking blood. I mean, people drink fucking blood just for that fuck of it, but it's not a disease. There's no vampiric disease that says that you have the impulsion to drink blood that I know of. I don't know. I like biology, but not that kind of stuff. But it's like, it's funny that we looked up this disease that she used, and yet she didn't have the whereabouts to actually look up it herself and just bullshitted her way in it. If you notice the cut, my little brother just came in the room and I had to cook him something because he's always freaking hungry. Yes, my little brother's staying is home for school. Tomorrow he goes back to school. I just really hope that he stays healthy and everything else, because during these times, so that's why he's home. If you heard anything, that's him. So anyway, discussion, the vampire and everything, disease, got the disease wrongs and everything else, you know, pointing at bullshit. So we're just going on. Also, one thing I forgot. There was one character from her Friday Nights at Freddy's things was a legitimate ripoff of an actual character. I think it was from Friday Nights at it was like Nights at Candy's, or someone else's character that it's like a legitimate, like, Pokes pointed this out, because I don't know much about the fandom anymore, so Pokes did at the time. And she said this was a rip-off of someone's actual character. I'm just like, is there anything good from this group? I was like, what the frick? But then, we came across this one character. There's one particular character that just caught my eye. We were also reading the descriptions, like I said. They were all obviously child prodigy and everything else. And I just look at this character in the description. I'm like, you know what? This isn't a bad character. It's kind of cute. I just wish it wasn't a Friday Nights at Freddy's character. And my friends were like, yeah, I agree. And then as we're going on, I'm just like, you know what, guys? And you're just like, what? I'm gonna remake this character. And yeah, you can just take the guess. That's Poppy. Poppy was the redesign of one of Dory's characters. Now, what I meant for the design for Poppy, I quickly stated in my posts of the character and everything else, I said that, Dory, I am not coming after you. I am not doing this maliciously or anything else. I saw this character and I thought, they're cute. I did some changes here and there. You don't have to. The whole thing is, she didn't have to take my artistic design. She didn't have to take the design or the critiques that I did with the bio or anything else. She didn't have to. I just stated what I wanted her to improve on. And I thought this character had potential. Now, the best way this character would have succeeded and that's kept its design if it wasn't a Friday Nights at Freddy's character. It would have been just fine on its own. If only that was the case. So if you hear Discord notifications, my freaking friends are talking to me. No privacy for Delucky. No, or Whisper, whatever. You can call me whatever you want. Anyway. If only that was the case. Dory didn't like it. In fact, she honestly thought I was attacking her and making fun of her characters. Even though, in the description, I will take a screenshot and censor some things out here and there. I was not. In fact, Dory likes to send out white knights to people, not only me this time, not only to Pokes. Usually it's Pokes. Even after Pokes blocked her and stopped talking to her, Dory still sent out one time white knight to her and basically kind of harassed Pokes again, and Pokes is like, I don't want nothing to do with Dory. Leave me alone. I have moved on. She should move on too. And this was years ago. Even after this incident, Dory doesn't seem to move on from a lot of things. Maybe now she has? I don't know. Dory's a mystery. We don't know when Dory's gonna strike again. Instead of Dory the fish, Dory's like a shark, and you don't know when she's gonna pounce again, and just like, it's like, ah! So I want to talk about how I'm a victim and everything else. Oh dear me. So anyway, back to the White Knight. It's just like, Dory's White Knight is just like, excuse me? I will post the conversation, but I will block out the user because I respect people's privacy. So anyway, they're just like, you can't do that. You're stealing the character, and you're bad. I just like, I'm not. She doesn't have to. I should have worded it like, she doesn't have to. I'm just giving her. And the conversation ended short when our other friends at the time came in and like talked to the person. The conversation kind of ended. I'm just like, oh damn, I'm sad. But Dory actually talked about me privately. Yeah, no, you thought Dory was gonna come out and like do the victim card on me? No. Remember that other friend I said that swooped in and like covered my, like, kind of just like took that White Knight away? Dory talked to that person and mentioned me. Now, I don't care if people talk behind my back, but to me, it would be better if you just talk to me personally instead of talking behind my back, because people are free to talk to me. Anyway, but it's just like, Dory, you could talk to me, you could DM me, we could talk it out like adults. Even though, I should explain this from the start, Dory's kind of a kid, and yeah, I understand kids' mentalities are a lot different, but even when I said years ago, Dory hasn't, when I said that Dory sent out people to harass folks again, she hasn't moved on. It's been years, and she probably moved on. She should have moved on from her the teenage stage and everything else. It's just like, no. That's when I have a problem, when you don't learn, regardless of age, you should learn when someone is uncomfortable with you. Regardless of age, if you do something wrong and you make that person kind of uncomfortable, then it's your fault. And when you tell you what you did wrong and you don't learn from that, that's when it's wrong. You can't justify your age anymore if you constantly are told to learn from your mistakes. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to be preachy here. So anyway, I was kind of sad, but she did kind of name drop me. And I was just like, we saw the DMs, and our friend was showing the DMs, and I'm like, oh look, there I am, right there. But regardless, I would show the DMs, but regardless, one, I don't want to expose Dory, and two, even though if I do censor her out, I would also censor out the name. That's too much work. And two, it also, once again, too much work, because this was all on Google's Hangouts. I don't use Google Hangouts anymore. I use Discord because I'm cool like that. So anyway, when all this was happening, I just looked at Poppy, and I'm just like, you know what? If you're not gonna accept this design, then I'm gonna take it. And thus, I kept Poppy. Was it a good choice that I made? Maybe not. I don't know. I'm still kind of questioning whether or not this was morally right. Do I encourage this? No. I don't encourage you people to go out and, take a character's, try to redesign that character and just claim it as your own. This was an entirely, different rabbit hole as it is, because my relationship with Dory and everything else. But in my excuse, Poppy's design to Dory's original design is so different that I think that I could just identify Poppy as an entirely different character and not associated with that. Hell, if you look at, if I didn't even explain Poppy's origin, you wouldn't get that. But I'm explaining it now to just take it as a carving it like a tale of probably what not to do. I'm saying if, I don't know. Tea break. So, I don't know. It really, to me, Poppy's design and character, to me, I like her a lot, and she's a very cute character, and she means a lot to me, especially if someone's not going to take the time and effort to take what I have to offer, then I will give Poppy the love and attention that she deserves, if I remember. But I remember years ago drawing Poppy a lot in my sketchbooks, and she's really fun to draw. I love her a lot, and I missed her. So anyway, kind of let me know if you agree with me or not. It's perfectly fine if you don't agree with me, but I still don't encourage people to do it. Even though Dory wasn't a good person, I still don't encourage people to just steal a character entirely, even though Poppy is completely different from Dory's character, in my opinion. But regardless. So anyway, I hope you enjoy me yabbering this story and part about friends and character designs, and maybe you learn from it once again, because I like to repeat myself, forgive me. So anyway, I hope you all have a lovely day. Bye!